Hey, this is Driver88. If you were to ask me what is one of the worst sounding modern German cars, I would say it's the BMW F80 M3. Even if you add an aftermarket exhaust, they seem to sound even worse. However, today on this vlog, my mind's probably going to be changed because my mate Umberto, who owns Elite Euro Performance, has just finished a build on a single turbo 700 horsepower F80 M3. And this thing sounds ridiculous. So let's check out the build and take it for a drive.
Let's get it now.
So here we are.
Umberto, you have a new toy to show me.
Yes, you're back.
I'm back.
You're back. You were very impressed last time with the video we did.
Heaps of good stuff.
Lots of cool content. So yeah, let's dive into one of the iconic cars that we've built here in Elite Euro Performance. This is the only single turbo S55 M3 in Victoria. Yep. There's a couple around in Australia now, but this is the only one down here in Vic. So this car gets a lot of attention. It's been talked about a lot, and I guess we're going to go through how we built it, why we built it, and
for sure
what it does.
What is this first? What year we're talking? M3?
Yes, M3 comp.
Yeah.
This customer pretty much, actually, we bought it off another customer.
Yeah.
My previous customer brought him in and said, look, he wants to go all out. So again, sat down, pretty much a blank canvas, and he wanted to do something wild. So
yeah,
the S55 engine has just always been notorious that it just doesn't sound good.
Okay.
You know, like, I'll be honest, even though I love BMWs, everyone says the same thing to me, I will say the S55 sound garbage. But,
yeah.
but when you slap a big turbo on it, get rid of the twins,
yeah,
you equalize the harmonics of the engine, and you literally turn a BMW engine into an RB. So, you know, everyone loves that, you know, big turbo RB Nissan Skyline kind of sound.
Yeah.
This does exactly that. So effectively, if we start from the hot side, we converted the twins into a single, so you can kind of see the manifold there. So all 6 cylinders into one. Tucked in there, nice and tight. Very minimal space.
Yeah.
I would say this is like one of the hardest conversions to do. Is a Garrett G35-900.
I was just about to ask that.
Yep, G35-900. It's like the most compact, powerful turbo that Garrett make. So the G35, 900 and 1050, you can pretty much fit them anywhere, honestly. Like for what the CFM that produces and the power it can make,
yeah,
in such a, you know, relatively compact housing is very impressive. So the G35-900 and G35-1050 have been very popular for the B58 platform, S58, just purely from the turbo spool to the power output. Comes on, it's nice and responsive. This comes on pretty hard at around 4,000 RPM,
yeah,
which is only a little bit less than what a twin does. So,
so where are we making peak power and?
I'll show you that on the dyno graph.
Yep.
But peak power is pretty much all mid-range, and it just pulls like a freight train to Redline.
Yep, yeah.
So when we go for a spin, you'll obviously,
I'm sure.
you're going to feel that. All custom pipe work. We married it up with a full Mishimoto cooling package. So Mishimoto cooler. We've got the Mishimoto heat exchanger behind the grille.
Yeah.
Mishimoto thermostat as well, which again, there's a few cool things on this car you don't get to see. Everything's hidden. But that's down there as well. Keep all the temps in check. We were going to run like a open pod filter in the bay, but the customer wanted something nice and neat.
Yep.
So we got the mode front-facing intake, and that curves around through there and into the front grille. So
it does look very tidy.
Yeah, it's very neat, and you get that like insane spool noise from outside the car. You can hear it.
Yeah.
It's very audible.
Yeah.
Like when this car's coming up behind someone, all they hear is just like a jet.
Induction noise.
Yeah, so we'll lift the car up, we'll take the bash plates off and you can have a look at our work.
Yeah, awesome.
Here we are, underneath. Lots of mumbo jumbo going on here.
Uh-huh.
All right. Now, I guess the thing that, I want to show people, and I guess it kind of highlights on the difficult nature of doing something like this.
Yeah.
If you come over this side, obviously you can see the underside of the turbo, all in there, all the plumbing that's involved.
Uh-huh.
So very tight. Like when I explain to people how difficult it is getting it all in, they're like, oh yeah, it can't be that hard.
Yeah.
It is very hard. There's only like 5 mil next to the engine, 5 mil next to the chassis.
Yeah.
But all in all, it fits. So all custom fabrication, that's the downpipe effectively that goes onto the single mid pipe.
Yeah.
We are running a 50 mil Turbo Smart Pro Gate, which is the party horn.
Uh-huh. The party one, yeah.
That's my favorite bit.
Yeah.
Like when you hear it out in the open, in the wild, it sounds amazing.
Uh-huh.
This is still a stock engine car,
Okay.
stock gearbox,
Yeah.
stock clutch.
Okay.
Now we run XHP transmission software on the DCTs, which allows us to push upwards to 1,000 newton meters, even up to around 600 kilowatt of power, which just shows how how robust
it is, yeah.
the gearbox are. Then as we move towards the back, still stock BMW LSD diff.
Okay.
The only thing we've really done on the rear end to just obviously, we're adding a lot of power. We need to give the customer a little bit more mechanical grip. So we integrate our rear camber shim kit. Now on the BMWs, traditionally it's a eccentric shaft. Problem with that is, even when you button them down, put them in position, under load, hard driving, drifting, all that type of stuff, they start to move.
Yeah.
So we do a lockout system, so that way we've got a fixed camber, which effectively creates more tyre contact on the rear tyres. So you can even see on here, again, BMWs are notorious for chewing on the inside of the tyre. This is getting full contact,
Yeah.
nice even wear. Yeah, nice little upgrade that we make in-house.
What rear tyres are we running on this one?
So these, we actually started just using these Arturos. They're a street legal DOT drag radial, 100 tread wear.
Yeah.
And we're kind of trialing them at the moment on a few cars. As you can imagine, a lot of rear-wheel drive cars struggle for grip. We want something that still looks good and still gives you that extra grip you need when you're trying to put it down. On the rear end, you'll see our billet dual diff brace.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I still don't know why, BMW only used one allocation on the rear subframe.
Okay.
So where you see there's 2 bushes, that wasn't originally there.
Ah, okay.
So we made our own rear plate that allows you to dual mount it, effectively holding the diff more secure, less rear chatter, axle tramp, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And we just lowered on some iBuck springs, and that pretty much covers the underside.
Very nice, man.
Okay, so on the fueling side, we run a upgraded high pressure fuel pump, and we actually get the injectors from the M5 competition.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, so that allows, I guess if people wanted me to put a number on it, the stock DI injectors, let's say they're a 750cc.
Yeah.
When we convert them over to the EU5s, it effectively gives us around 1100,
Okay.
which is just enough what we need to run full 85.
Yeah.
Now this car is full flex fuel, so effectively we're integrating the flex fuel sensor into the tuning software, so it's all calibrated via BM3. We up the high pressure, like I said, and the DI injectors, and then we also upgrade the low pressure fuel pump in the tank.
Okay.
So that allows us to run upwards of 800 horsepower, obviously stock engine. So the fueling system has had a few modifications to it to allow it to run fully 85.
Yeah. And with the tuning, so obviously being a stock engine, you're sort of managing torque. So
Correct. Yeah. So I guess there's a rule of thumb when it comes to European engines, you know, what their capacity R is.
Yeah.
And as certain platforms evolve over time, there's like an industry standard. Okay. So I guess if you wanted to look at it from a sense of, you know, say a stock S55 makes 270, 280 kilowatt, you could double that output if you like, as long as you're managing correctly with torque, timing, and the amount of fuel that you're putting into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, with our stage 3 packages that we're doing, even from a single to a twin, we're pretty much hitting 500 every time.
Yeah.
Like you're about to see.
Now, I know people are going to ask.
Yes.
Roughly, like how much money
Are we talking?
with this package sort of cost? Obviously, when you get to this point, there's so many extra things you can add that it's
Of
kind of
course,
like how long
yes.
is a piece of string.
Correct.
But could you give a sort of rough estimate?
Most definitely. So I guess when you're looking at similar fueling system, similar setup, similar power potential, or you know what the customer would want to achieve,
Yeah.
the stage 3 packages range from around 25 to 45. Now the reason obviously why it's such a big jump is if you want to go single turbo or just hybrid twins, which is more cost effective.
Yeah.
You still hit the same power levels, but you don't get the sound.
Yeah.
They still sound good, but when you
Yeah.
hear this, it's going to blow your mind.
So obviously, I guess me not being a big BMW guy, the single turbo is more about like experience
Correct.
and the power delivery,
Yeah,
and
correct.
the sounds and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
which
it's
I can
really-
understand.
It's really bringing that emotion
Yeah.
back into it.
Because
And
I was just saying to Umberto before that
Yeah.
modern cars these days are just becoming less and less exciting to drive.
Correct,
They're
correct.
becoming almost too efficient. So
not as
it's
engaging.
like we're having to put more soul into it.
Correct, yes. I guess that's what we're trying to achieve at EEP. Not only about building custom cars for people, but giving people the opportunity to really build the car that they really envisioned to have. And like you were saying as well, as we're moving through and new generation of vehicles are coming in, a lot of electronics, a lot of you know, driving assist
OPS.
programming, stuff like that. People start forgetting what it's really like to drive a car that is raw, that is, you know, soul and power and emotion. So,
And scares you a little bit.
and schedule makes your palms sweat a
that's
little
right,
bit.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So this is definitely a direction you can go to get that feeling back again.
Right, man.
Yeah. So let's have a look over here. Now, the way I've tuned this car is obviously we don't want to just run max power 24/7, right?
Yeah.
So effectively we did a low boost map and a high boost map.
Yeah.
So from a low boost setting, we're hitting around 489, let's call it 490 with some chain, and 839 torque. Now in most scenario, that's plenty for people. Like, you know, that's,
So how much is 489 kilowatts roughly, horsepower?
in horsepower, I have to do mathematicals.
I'm just trying to think.
We'll put it up on here.
Yeah,
He's
I'll
gonna
put it up on
boom.
screen. Easy. 489 kilowatts.
Yeah. And that's still very conservative. Like,
Yeah.
that's only running 23 psi. No, sorry, 24 psi.
24 psi. Yeah.
24 psi, which from a stage 2 plus perspective on stock turbos, we would be exceeding anyway.
Okay.
So it just shows the efficiency and the CFM that turbo setup can produce,
Yeah.
and how these engines take that kind of, you know, take the air from the turbo. So,
Yeah.
and then if you want to really shake and bake, put it into high boost, and we're making 523
kilowatts.
and 936.
Yeah. It's a lot with the wheels, with the hubs, right?
Let's call it 4.5 RPM.
So that's really, yeah, that's pretty good.
That's very
Four and a-
early for
Just under 4,500 RPM, you're getting peak power at.
correct. And you got all the way up to 7.5.
Yeah.
So
I
you
think that's
got
about
plenty of
over
RPM.
700 horsepower, right?
Correct.
523, yeah.
Correct. The stock turbos would come on hard at around 3. That taper off significantly.
Yeah.
Even a hybrid setup from a stage 3 perspective, that would be coming on at around 4. You're only losing a little bit more.
Oh, just rev. Yes, the Flutter.
The Flutter, the dose.
Oh man.
And that's another thing that people are like, oh, why can't you get BMS to do that?
Yeah, it sounds.
Now I can.
It does sound a little JDM like now. It actually does.
Yeah.
You were not just saying that. That's impressive.
For example, let's do this.
There it is. Classic.
Just a little bit of brake boost.
Did we talk about the gearbox that much? I'm not
So,
remember if we did.
DCT,
Yeah.
7-speed.
Yeah.
We use XHP transmission software on there.
Mm-hmm.
It basically allows me to change shift, torque limitation, torque by gear,
Yeah.
torque punch, which is effectively the clamping force after you've shift,
Yeah.
and even the shift points, characteristics, things like that. So just as tunable as the ECU in a sense.
Yeah.
I guess that's how we get these things to hook up so well as well.
Do we want them to do?
Correct. It's amazing how much power the stock gearbox can have.
Yeah. Shit.
And you've probably seen there's in the Japanese market, a lot of guys are using the DCT in R34s, 2Js. They're making conversion bell housings for them.
Okay, from this gearbox.
From this gearbox.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's really still very much still engaging. Still smooth when you want it to be,
Yeah.
and it holds the power. So it was really good application for the F series. The new generation of the G series now, they've went to a ZF automatic.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot faster, a lot smoother, even more tunable again.
Yeah.
But you, again, like we were saying,
Different experience.
Different experience. You lose a little bit of that engagement, but when you're going, warp speed,
Yeah.
it's a good matchup for what they did with the new S58.
Yeah.
So try M2 now, and as soon as you put M2, valves open.
I hear it.
Now you're hearing, a true 6-cylinder sound.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not droning either.
No, it's just a nice tone, nice deep tone.
Yeah.
Whereas if we were still in, a twin turbo setup, you'd get a bit more of that rasp on and off.
Yeah,
top,
I'll be honest.
On and off throttle.
The F80 especially, I've heard modified ones with big exhaust sound, something horrible.
Yeah.
Like, just my opinion.
Strangling
but
a cat.
Yeah. Christ. Easy.
Easy.
Yeah, it's nice.
That noise.
It's
That's so good.
Yeah, it's good.
Now that, like
massive
I'm saying,
surge.
that RB sound, that gain, the power.
Yeah.
It's just raw.
Uh-huh. That is exciting though.
Right?
Yeah. No, that's very addictive, I'm sure. That's awesome.
it's how they should have came out.
Yeah.
You know, they should have sounded like this.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
the majority of people would have been jumping at it. But you know, nothing we can't do.
All right.